Hello viewers, welcome to Tax Insight Monday. My name is Sylvia Toshkumudu. I'm the head Taxpayer Education and Enlightenment team. With me is Dr. Greg Ezeilo, FCA, ACTI. He is the Chairman Chief Executive, Anambra State Internal Revenue Service. Dr. Ezeilo is a technocrat, a game changer, and a trailblazer. He is the brain behind the rise in the Anambra State Internal Revenue. He will discuss APLUC. APLUC is Anambra Property and Land Use Charge. Dr. Ezeilo, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Sylvia, thank you very much, the team that is putting this together. This is talking from the in-house studio of Anambra Internal Revenue Service. This helps as like our YouTube channel to reach out to the entire populace and, of course, the whole global community. Because as you know, internet is everywhere, very pervasive. So that's aside. Let me first and foremost appreciate this honor to be the first guest on your channel. Talking about Anambra Internal Revenue Service and its functions, mandate, and all of that. You will appreciate the fact that the law has just been amended and signed by the Executive Governor of Anambra State, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, CFR. And I give kudos to him. I give kudos to the Parliament that made it happen. Now, taking it from the point of view of revenue generation, this agency, Anambra Internal Revenue Service, is the de facto revenue office for the entire state. And of course, you know that without revenue, no state can function effectively. Even if you have that revenue, you have to have it sufficiently enough for you to be able to cushion any gaps that comes from the federal, from the center. If you're able to raise the revenue substantially enough to be able to pay overheads locally, then you can now apply your capital, your central revenue collection to your capital projects, and then the state is moving on. Now, by law, AIRS is charged with that responsibility of harvesting every revenue stream in the entire state and then ensuring that these revenues are collected, not just collected, but accurately and promptly too, and then deposited in the treasury so that the government can have access to funding of its projects. Now, talking about APLUC, as you said, APLUC is also a law on its own. It was made by the then governor of Anambra State, Mr. Peter Obi, in 2011. That law has never been fully implemented until we came on stage. Maybe, I don't know, people who ought to do that were unable to proceed with it. But it is a very wise and intentionally developed law that would ordinarily, when you activate it, will give Anambra State some kind of unlocking the IGR ever desired to prosecute government projects. So what is APLUC to start with? It's an acronym for that law, which is Anambra Property and Land Use Charge 2011. And what is it all about? It's a law that was designed to help the government harvest the revenue that are locked down in various properties around Anambra. You can't believe it that in terms of Anambra, we've used a Google software to determine the number of buildings, number of properties in Anambra. We have over 1.4 million properties in Anambra, and 521,000 of these properties reside in the areas we call the low-hanging clusters. We have Onitsha, we have Oka, just to start with. So these areas holds in its environment 521,000 properties. So if you build a house, you build on government land. When I say government land, constitutionally, the governor of a state owns all the land. And then these lands are allocated per requisition, and then paying the appropriate charges and all of that. And that's where the land use charge comes in.
Thank you, sir. Let's go to another question. What impact will this new revenue bucket have?
2 weeks ago, we had a meeting with president generals of all the communities in the catchment areas.
Okay.
And they were all in agreement that this is a very noble adventure. And we are now taking it down to the grassroots, those who are supposed to be the taxpayers themselves. We're also doing some level of training, technical expertise, and all of that. So at the end of when these things permeates to the environment, the harvest will be very plentiful, just like the Lord Jesus said in the Bible. The harvest will be very plentiful, and if the harvest is very plentiful, then there will be more happiness. There's happiness comes from the judicious use of these funds that are generated through APLUC. And I can bet you that we should be harvesting not less than 2 to 3 to 5 billion from this environment in the years to come, once it has fully taken roots in the areas we want it to take root. So talking about impact will just cut across more development in education, more development in infrastructure, more development in the hospital, water, power, and of course agricultural resources. All of them will be impacted positively. And then of course the work of the government will become more pronounced, and it speaks for itself as it is now. You see that so much has been done in the area of infrastructure, but more are also in the pipeline. I give example of Amobia here, from Amobia to Ekulobia interchange that is already ongoing, yes. And then getting across to Oga and up to Imo State. There's now a dual carriage that is being constructed, and I guess before the end of the year, the work will have getting close to completion, if not completed. But of course, another link highway is being planned from Agolo, cutting across all the communities, including what do you call it, Obeledu, Adazieno, and so on, up to Newi, and then back to Onisha, and then of course Were. And of course, a rail line is also planned to connect all the cities of the Anambra, from Onisha to Newi to Ekulobia back to Awka here. And all this needs to be financed by good funding resource. And we believe that the moment APLUC takes its roots, and also do appeal to Anambrarians that look, this is our future, this is our livable homeland, this is the Dubai, Taiwan of Africa we are looking at in the nearest future. So what we are saying in effect is the fact that APLUC holds the key to unlocking some buckets of revenue that is going to be very fruitful for all of us.
Now, sir, thank you for your insight. Now, who pays APLUC?
Yeah, every property owner is liable to a property and land use charge, because it's akin to a personal tax that you pay for right of your right of occupancy that you have. So whether you are in America, you are in Kuwait, you are anywhere you are in this entire universe, as long as the papers that says that you are the owner of this property, you are liable to property and land use charge. Right. It now devolves on you on how to get it actualized, either between you and your tenant, between your children, whatever it is. But the law recognizes you as the primary person charged or under liability to pay.
Okay, sorry.
And then, of course, let me also say that when you talk about what to pay, maybe I should add that as an addendum. This is a property, this is another property, this is another property. The three of them, are they liable to the same rate of tax? The answer is no. In fact, the property and land use charge has no fixed rate that is unique across property owners. Now, this is a neighborhood. Neighborhood counts for what you pay as property tax. The space you have, the land mass you have, counts. In that land mass, the space that your building is occupying also counts for what you pay. Even the unused spaces also counts. So let me give you an insight, a little bit technical now, that the law provides a mathematical formula for generating the liability. So, and this mathematical formula has multipliers that pulls from here and there the rate of the building, the going rate of building in that area, the going rate of land in that area, the neighborhood where the person resides, and then the space that the building is situated in the entire landmass and all of that. So these are all built into that formula. That law is quite intelligent in designing what should be paid so that nobody is shortchanged or kind of injustice. No. So even if you have a skyscraper in just a plot of land, 400 square meters, and somebody has a kiosk in a landmark that is over 200 acres, you might discover that the person that has that 200 square acres pays much more higher than the person who has a skyscraper in a 400 meter plot of land. So that is the way the law justifies what you pay. So there's no fixed amount, but there's a fixed rule in determining what individual taxpayers will pay.
All right, thank you, sir. Viewers, let's take a little break. Welcome back to the break. So, Chairman, educate us more on the role of property tax in Anambra State. When are we expecting the takeoff of
it? Let me say that the process that is crystallizing right now started about 6 months ago, from some study using technologies of some kind of what you call Igbo Janamo, that's the internet in English. We have gotten to a point where we are now frontally before the taxpayers. So we've engaged them, we're still engaging them. So in a nutshell, I'm expecting the inflows from that bucket to start any moment from now, because my men are in the fields. But I will also ask the taxpayers not to be scared, because we have assembled level-headed people, not people that they used to call Aburo. Of course, let them even say that there's no more Aburo by that nomenclature, Aburo in Anambra State. I called all Aburos in a meeting, if you don't mind me to say this, that's 2 weeks ago. I called all of them from all over the state. We met at the Uber Center, because Uber Center is a center for learning for AIRS. And I began to ask them, what is Aburo? And they're all looking at me. They don't know what Aburo is. Yes, they call it Aburo. I say Aburo means you are a thief, that's what Aburo is. And they were surprised. And I say, from now onwards, none of you should call anybody Aburo. If I hear you call somebody Aburo, I will fine you 100,000.
That's interesting.
Then they ask me, so if I was going to buy now, I say, look, so instead of Aburo, it was Ndiolo Moto. Their name today is Ndiolo Moto, not Ndiaburo now. Ndiolo Moto, So, but that's aside. Like I said, the revenue harvests from this area is overdue. So I'm expecting that we begin to scratch it from middle of next month, early next month to middle of next month, and by the close of this of the next quarter, we should be having a handful of harvest from this revenue bucket. And yes, you might ask me what process strategy in terms of technology, and I can tell you that if you're a property owner, that's why when you talk about who pays and all of that, it is immaterial to us, because the entire process is driven by electronics. So even if you are in another universe, and if you're in another universe, if you're in Moon, if you're in Jupiter, wherever you are, you get your demand notice there.
Yes.
And then in the comfort of that universe where you are, you make your payment electronically. So the question of who pays or whether the tenant will pay or not is immaterial to us, because the entire process is digitalized from scratch to finish. What we call from cradle to grave in accounts. In those days, we were studying with actually. So the people who are in America, in Canada, in the US, whatever, you wake up in the morning, you have on your phone. Yeah. Then the next thing you do, we'll have Yororam on our account. Like my daughter will say, Yororam, when I hear Yororam in account, then I will come and do that. So that is how it's going to happen. So it's not as if I go and begin to pursue anybody or no. You get your demand notice. First of all, we put a demand notice, physical one, on the wall of your gate. And then the electronic one will come to your bedroom where you are having. Somebody's knocking here. Yes, who is that? AIRS. Then please open your phone and you see the demand notice there. And they say, please, you can make your payment through this link, APLUC link. And you click it, it takes you to our portal. It takes to your bank, and then you make the payment, and here we have your room over here. So it's not, there's no hard and fast rule.
Okay, sir, thank you very much. You have what you said about property tax in Anambra State. Now, can you please advise the management of APLUC and then the property owners in Anambra State in terms of how to make proper payment on time in Anambra State?
Well, I've said it. What is going to happen is my advice to taxpayers is not to be afraid, not to be scared. Guys that are coming to you are going to be very decent people, not the Olumoto. The Olumoto is never involved in the APLUC implementation. The Olumoto does their work as the Olumoto. But people who have assembled to do this work are fantastic guys in their areas of expertise. We have surveyors, we have architects, we have lawyers, we have accountants, we have computer experts. Because some of the things have been digitalized and electronics is leading the way in that area. So you guys are going to be meeting people who are well dressed, decent, and all of that. So you got nothing to fear. Engineers too are some of the power of the team. So each of the clusters has a team of 5 personnel that are in these categories I've just mentioned. So what I require of the public is cooperation. Give them your. And then let me also say this, that when you get a demand notice, it's not full and final. Under the existing tax laws, you are entitled to object. I mean, if you have reasons to object to the invoice that is before you, you do a formal objection. And then we're also here open to different objections. We discuss the objections because under the canon of taxation, people are supposed to be taxed, and the liability that is going to crystallize becomes a burden on them. And this is a burden. The intention of the law is not to place a heavy burden on the taxpayer, but to alleviate that burden. And that's why you have what you call tax avoidance, not evasion now. So you now apply, through your tax consultants, techniques that will lessen that burden. And then the tax laws also envisages the fact that you as a taxpayer, it must be convenient for you to pay.
Yes.
You must have the money to pay. Because the demand notice may come and you find the person that they are living is already bedridden somewhere. And then maybe you now go and see the person is half alive on bed. So who is going to pay? Okay. However, somebody may be bedridden, but he has a property that is almost every day. So he has to pay because that's an income stream for him. So the law says your tax is derived from your income. So we have taken care of all of that in our processes to actualize this APLUC implementation.
Well, this is Tax Insight Monday. This is where we wrap up our discussion with the Chairman Chief Executive, Dr. Greg Ezeilo, FCA, ACTI. Join us next week for an interesting edition of the program.
Yeah, viewers, interestingly, this is Tax Insight Monday. Why don't you join us every Monday? Beautiful program, beautiful cup of tea on a wet Monday morning. I will ask you to join us next time. Thank you.
All right, viewers, thank you very much. I'm Silvia Toshkun with the head Taxpayer Education and Enlightenment signing off. Thank you.